Four-Wheeling video series. We're proud to bring you the very best in four-wheeling entertainment and have developed this series especially for you, the dedicated reader and fellow four-wheeling enthusiast. Each video in this exciting and action-packed series delivers the ultimate thrill of four-wheeling at its finest. Watch as driver and vehicle attempt to conquer some of the most challenging terrain, pushing the vehicles to the breaking point and beyond. In this episode, you'll see Top Truck Challenge, where 10 of the world's most durable vehicles compete in four-wheeling's pinnacle event. Listen to the competitors' stories and watch as they break and fix on the fly, adapt and adjust to the next big challenge. In this video, top trucks from the US and Canada will meet in head-to-head competition. They'll be sent over rocks and mud pits, leading up to the extreme four-wheeling nightmare, the tank trap. And at the end of the competition, we will know which truck stood up to the challenge and earned the right to be called Top Truck. These trucks are beautiful now, but they won't be by the time we get done with them. The ultimate four-wheeling video series will bring you a wide range of exciting entertainment, along with valuable information to improve your driving and four-wheeling skills. Sit back and join me in Hollister, California for this edition of the ultimate four-wheeling video series, where we start this episode with a ruler and a tape measure. Well, the angle of approach and departure is extremely critical to these guys trying to get over obstacles. They'll measure it in degrees. They'll look at the degree of departure and the degree of approach, and of course, the less overhang you have, the more opportunity you have to climb over big objects.
67.7. Go ahead.
Well, this one is pure and simple. No fancy equations, just a simple measurement of the turning radius of every vehicle, and of course, tighter is better. Now, this particular portion of the competition is called RTI, Ramp Travel Index, and you gain points by dividing the distance up the ramp by the wheelbase of the truck.
I haven't even stretched my spring out yet.
He calls it Goliath, this bright yellow M38 hauled from Auburn, California. It's owned and driven by David Uhlberg.
I've had it for about 3.5 years now. The history of it is I bought it in original condition from the original owner's son, and I bought it for $900 and drove it home. I essentially built mine for rocks, for driving on granite and big rocks, and there's a lot of mud here, so I've only had the thing in mud once.
It's not a Hummer, it's a bummer. A fiberglass kit body stacked on a 3/4-ton 73 Chevy frame. It belongs to Aaron Clow of Erta, Utah.
I built it mainly for the family aspect of it. We do a lot of trails and sand dunes, and it hauls everybody and a lot of equipment. It's built on GM, so it's fairly simple to get parts and also cheap. It's got a good fuel-injected, light, small block motor, nice big tire with a bead lock. It's got lockers front and rear, and it's just really cool to be here. Not much better than sitting out here, getting ready to beat on it.
Josh Perizzo of South Burlington, Vermont drove across the continent to join Top Truck Challenge. His 93 Jeep Cherokee is nearly stock from the floorboard up. The changes are underneath.
I've always been a Jeep person. So the body's stock, the interior is pretty much stock, the transfer case. Besides that, pretty much everything else that was on it's gone. Having a hard time getting the height out of it for the tire size I wanted, so we had some leaf springs hanging around the shop for an FJ40, and they fit pretty good. Made some custom spring hangers for the front. Changed the axle in the front and put a Dana 44. I have a 76 Bronco.
Gained a lot by doing that.
Sam Patton's CJ7 may have hot suspension, 39-inch boggers, and a tune-port fuel-injected 350, but Sam says it was also built for real life.
We wanted to build a vehicle that was realistic and looked like something that could be, drove every day. And I mean, we could put a soft top on it and drive it every day if we wanted to, because, the heater works in it, the windshield wipers, the speedometer works, and it's street legal. You know, we also wanted to beef up the suspension and the axles, so when we did go to the rock crawl challenges and events like this, that you know, it'd hold up.
On the outside, it's a 62 F100. Under the hood, it's a 69 Olds 455, and owner Cliff Steelman runs his combination on 44-inch Swampers.
I was 15 and a half when I bought the truck. Shortly after I bought it, blew up the motor, so started working on it. So replaced the motor with another motor of the same type. Still didn't have enough power. Went to an Olds 455, had a Granny 4-speed in it before and everything, and just made it to where it's all come from idle up and even below idle, because when we're running in the snow, we'll have it going so slow that the oil pressure is down to about 5 pounds.
Brent Gigapur of Sumner, Washington owns this 1950 CJ3A. It's been half a century since Jeep built it, and Brent says it needed a few improvements.
Originally bought it for $500 from a customer I was driving home, saw it there sitting on blocks. Thought it'd be a great thing to take home and beat up, so we built it, a lot of it in our spare time. Been working on the new suspension, just put new sway-away coils in it and nitrogen charged tanks. And motor, 3 buddies and I put that in. Edelbrock intake manifold, it's a B&M blower. As soon as I put the blower on, had a definite overheating problem, so we went to a new radiator and twin electric fans. Paint job was done by my father-in-law. Front and rear winches for back home whenever we have any trouble, we can go either way. We built it for short, tight trails. We have turns, everything's trees in Washington and lots of rain, mud. This is completely different terrain.
Jake Hallenbeck of Reno, Nevada bought his '87 Suzuki Samurai as a weekend runabout, but quickly realized that he was desperately short on horsepower.
Started pretty much as a little weekend beater, and over 2 years, it's just pretty much we've built it up, started debuting new stuff on it, and it's pretty much ground up now. Did Toyota 8-inch axles, 529 gears, and custom shackle reverse in the front with dual shackles in the rear. And then one thing we've been starting doing a lot of and trying to get it out is 16-valve motor swaps out of sidekicks, which doubles your power. Home's Reno, Nevada, and pretty much there's a lot of canyons there. So that's why I started the canyon crawlers.
Steve Rumer's Sniper is the only tube frame vehicle in Top Truck Challenge this year. It features 2.5-ton military axles and a Chevy 406 V8.
The guys at the shop and myself, we get a lot of satisfaction out of building different things, and is kind of a guinea pig for new ideas for the shop. We decided to set the whole chassis up. It's 2 inches higher now than it normally is. We readjusted the coilover. We felt that a little bit higher center of gravity wouldn't hurt us.
Do you get like Apollo mission jokes or anything about that?
Yeah, moon buggy, is that approved by NASA? Yeah.
Roger Bernard of Alberta, Canada fabricated the entire body of this vehicle himself. And this year he's the only competitor to carry the Maple Leaf.
Well, that came straight off the factory line from Calgary. Just kidding. Trying to make it multi-purpose to cover all the aspects of four-wheel driving. The frame comes from a Chevy 1-ton 3+3, which was reduced in length by about 4 or 5 feet. The bodywork is my own design and just fabricated in my own garage. I've been doing four-wheeling for about 10 years, and really it was just from past experiences of what broke and what didn't break. So I just tried to put it all in one package, basically.
Kevin Kalin's Scrambler has been a family affair from the start. His wife, even his kids all lend a hand, and they're the ones who came up with Siberian Stripes.
Usually we four-wheel every weekend and get a chance. A lot of sloped hills, some rock, some water crossings, there's some mud, but prefer to stay on the rocks and the dirt is what we built the vehicle for. We actually cut it in half. I took a saw and cut it in half and stretched it. It was a CJ7, and I stretched the frame and the body 24 inches.
How much blood, sweat, and tears do you have in this vehicle?
More time than money, but plenty of both. So it's a lot of work. My wife and I, we're not painters, but we actually striped that vehicle. 16 hours of striping. We were fortunate enough to be picked, and then we actually make the top 10. It's an honor to be here. So I'll push it as hard as I have to.
Here's how they stacked up after the scores were in, with the average ground clearance. The Bummer, the Rogerbilt, and the F100 rounded out the top three. The angle of approach and departure went by a wide margin to the Sniper in first place, followed by the Flatty and the CJ7. The Sniper's four-wheel steering came into play on the turning radius measurements. Again, an easy win for the Sniper, followed by the Flatty, and this time the Cherokee. And in the wheelbase Ram Travel Index measurements, the only competitor to top 1,000 was Goliath, followed by the CJ7 and again the F100. Next, in the engineering and show and shine competitions, our competitors get a chance to impress the judges with their engineering prowess, showing off such things as steering design, axle strength, gearing, lockers, and the appearance of the engine bay, the interior and the exterior of the vehicle. In the engineering department, Sam Patton's CJ7 came out on top of the Sniper and the Samurai. They nailed down the first three positions. In the show and shine competition, it was an easy win for Kevin Kalin's Scrambler, followed by the Suzuki Samurai and Sam Patton's CJ7 in third place. The last event of day one at the Top Truck Challenge is the Ride and Drive, where competitors take the judges on a 2-mile ride on paved roads throughout Hollister. Jake Hallenbeck's Suzuki Samurai turned out to be a joy to drive, even on the roads. It was followed by the CJ7 and the Bummer. Well, here's where our top truck drivers get to play drag racer. This is the acceleration and braking testing. Now, in order to complete this portion of Top Truck Challenge, we've come all the way out to Hollister Airport and commandeered one of the aircraft runways. Now, we've marked off a certain portion of it, and these guys get a chance to nail the throttle and go as fast as they possibly can. Then, when they're done, we turn them right back around, get them up to 40 miles an hour, and this time, see how quickly they can stop.
We've got a couple little motor bugs, and we're going to give it our best shot.
Well, now the toe test is where things really get tough. You got to have a lot of horsepower to make this work. Now, Anthony Terry is our cat driver, and he's got a bird's eye view of the whole thing. And this thing weighs 17,000 pounds, and it's got this huge steel cable. Follow me along this cable, and right in the middle of it, you're going to notice a big link. Now, they've tried to lengthen it as much as possible so that they would have an opportunity to tear up as little ground as possible, because these guys have to have good, solid footing to really get going.
On your mark, get set, go!
We did great. Got dirt in your lens.
You know, I am really surprised at how many people have already made it to the top. Have you done anything like this before?
No, I've done a little sand pulling, but this isn't no caterpillars yet.
A lot of wheel spin on the takeoff, and we've really had some guys struggle to get out of the hole, but it seems like once they get on the hill, once they start to get up the incline and build some momentum, that's when they really take off. And it looks like he's going to be yet another guy to take this thing all the way to the top. Congratulations. Is making his way up, and he's getting off to a slow start. And Jim, it seems like a lot of these guys are getting a lot of wheel spin at the very bottom.
Yes, they're finding the traction at the bottom may just be a little looser.
I think that's mainly from previous competitors, but that's not his only problem.
Looks like Dave broke a drive shaft, broke a front drive shaft.
Now tell me what happened on the way up. You obviously lost the drive shaft, but did it handicap you too bad, or were you already up?
It handicapped me a little bit, slowed me down, but full throttle and get it up here. I got a big rear end, we move.
Jim, it almost looks like it didn't actually break.
No, the spline pulled out of the yoke as part of that long travel suspension. As it went down so far that it allowed the spline of the drive shaft to pull right out of the yoke of the transfer case.
Is that just problems with the flexibility that the chassis has to absorb on the way up the hill under that pressure?
Yes, it is, and oftentimes that's countered by creating longer splines for those drive shafts.
The toe test is usually a distance competition, but this year the field was so strong, 10 out of 10 competitors made it to the top. The F100 did it quickest. The frame twister was next. Now it may look easy, but looks are definitely deceiving. The twister is roughly 50 yards long and starts out with 2 deep water holes that only swallow one side of the vehicle. After that comes a bed of rocks and logs that must be traversed. Adding to the difficulty is the fact that the logs are placed unevenly, so the driver must rely on a combination of momentum, finesse, the proper line, and luck to make it through.
Definitely harder than it looks.
This event has a 10-minute time limit per competitor. Now, running over a cone, leaving the perimeter of the course, or winching will all add 20 points to your score. Having to stop will add 1 penalty point, while backing up or having anyone exit the vehicle will result in 2 penalty points. That means the competitor with the lowest penalty point count and the quickest time is your winner. Well, Jim, here's a truck we expect a lot of, and here's a guy that expects a lot of himself. Steve Rumer came into this with a tremendous amount of confidence. He can take one look at the design and see why.
He has tremendous flexibility, big tires, soft tires. There he goes. He just made it through.
Steve, I'm really surprised that you attacked those last logs as hard as you did. I thought you might have broke something.
I wasn't really worried about breaking anything. I just wanted to get out of there. My plan was to get in the logs and just shoot diagonally straight across and keep the tires kind of alternating back and forth, and that last one spun us straight, and then we got snagged, so we had to keep working it.
Well, Cliff Steelman pulled all the way from Washington for this, and he ran into some early problems there, Jim, as soon as he got to those logs.
That's right, but you can see what happened was he didn't have his rear lockers in. Reached up, flipped the switch, and then he went a few more logs.
And I think he's got the worst possible wheelbase combination for this.
And now he's doing a little strategy here. He knows that this is only 20 points to winch the rest of the way out.
Well, Sam Patton's going to give it a go, and this guy is bringing a Jeep product out. We got a lot of Jeep products out here this year.
That's right, we do. And Sam has a reputation for hitting things hard, and you'll see he has earned that reputation quite well. And Sam seldom breaks. He prepares his rigs very carefully, and this Jeep has a lot of very strong components under it.
Boy, it better the way he's treating it. He really abused that thing going over the first 3 logs, and now they've decided to get up here and winch as quick as they possibly could. They had to think this strategy out in advance.
That's right, they did. And so that's what we say. Sometimes it's an advantage to go first, second, or third. Other times, the later competitors figure out, wait a minute, we will be able to make more points. This is a points-driven event by doing just what Sam did.
And he sends mud flying everywhere, even our direction, and a big congratulations. Got to be one of our quickest competitors through this time. Jim Pyatt told me a minute ago, he said this guy has a reputation for hitting things hard.
Yeah, this is what we do in Oklahoma, so we're used to this mud.
So it doesn't hold any surprises for you at all?
No, this is what we do.
Well, once you got to the very end,
yes, sir,
and you stalled out on the last log, I noticed that your spotter immediately jumped straight out. Was that a pre-planned strategy to winch?
Right, yeah, because everyone's been getting stuck on these last logs, so we knew we would too, so we had everything ready and just tried it one time, and then when it wouldn't go, he went out and hooked up to the cap there, and we got out.
Aaron Cloud gets the go sign and drags one of the biggest machines that we've got out here across the frame twister's beginning. Now tell me if that's going to be an advantage or a disadvantage to have such a big wheelbase.
Well, in this case, it may be an advantage because he may be able to get those front wheels over that last log before the back wheels hit the other one. But here we are. He's found another couple of logs that are matching his wheelbase, and therefore he is stopped at the moment.
Jim, up next we have Kevin Kalin in the Scrambler.
Oh, there he goes. He's gotten it on an angle, and the wheelbase monster has bit him.
And it looks like he may be hung up on some drive shaft under there.
Yes, he has, and he's taking the strategy of let's get that winch out and let's move this vehicle out of here.
They'll winch, they'll take a 20-point penalty, but was it worth it?
Figured we'd pull the winch cable just as quick as we could and get us out of there. It threw us for a good little loop there. Once it bounced us to the side, we knew we was in trouble. Just go ahead and winch it out. If we'd have broke something, we'd be in there working on it in the dirt and covered with mud. We'll take the 20 points for the winch.
Well, David Hulberg was the next competitor, and he tried something that was a little out of the ordinary for a short wheelbase vehicle. He tried to attack the log straight on instead of going sideways. Well, he got high-centered, got hung up before he even reached the final log, and they tried to winch out as quickly as possible, but the winch wouldn't cooperate. They had difficulty with their winch. They eventually did get out, though, but their difficulties weren't nearly as bad as the ones experienced by Josh Parazone. Josh got hung up after he stranded himself on a log, broke his drive shaft, and he had to be pulled out the old-fashioned way. Josh became one of 3 competitors to run out of time in the frame twister. The time limit was 10 minutes. Sam Patton's CJ7 came out in first place, followed by the Bummer, and then Kevin Kalin's Scrambler.
On your mark, get set, go!
Decked out in goggles or rain suits or whatever they brought, the competitors were told to get ready for the mud pit. Now it's time to get dirty. Well, those of you who are experienced Top Truck Challenge fans know that the mud pit has changed quite a bit. In fact, take a look down here with me along these pylons. This little berm right here last year was completely covered in water. I mean, we had water 3, 4, 5 feet high in some places down through the mud pit. Well, this year, that's not the case. You have to deal with the mud, and that's all. Instead, they put the pylons up so you cannot use last year's strategy of trying to have one tire creep along the side of the wall and pull the rest of your vehicle. Doesn't work that way this year. You get in the mud, you get dirty, like it or not. Last question before you go out. Do you hit it as hard and as fast as you possibly can, or do you feather the throttle?
Wide open.
Kevin, you promised us a wide open show, and you certainly delivered. Would you have done it any other way?
Yeah, I would have liked to stay straight. I think I could have done a lot better. It would have turned me sideways and drug the belly sideways. I was pretty much in trouble.
Well, you know, we're all very proud of him, but I don't want to give you a hug, Sam. You know, I mean, congratulations. That was a really nice room. Man, you are fixed up here, though.
I was prepared. Our strategy was to go in there and try to get on the left side and ride that bank a little bit, and it paid off. Got real lucky. Had plenty of tire speed, so just kind of ran out of room.
Well, it looked like your strategy paid off. Now all you have to do is figure your way out of those clothes.
I know. I need to get clean.
Nobody made it through the entire mud pit, but Sam Patton's CJ7 went 96 feet. The Sniper and the Flatty tied for second. And now we have a small rock collection for our competitors, or actually a 135-foot stretch of 6-foot boulders that we call the Mini Rubicon. The rules are exactly the same as they were with the frame twister, with the exception of a 20-minute time limit on the Mini Rubicon as opposed to a 10-minute time limit. Also, a 20-point penalty for those who cannot make it out under their own power. David Hulberg's luck went from bad to worse to much worse in the Mini Rubicon. In the opening seconds of the competition, he snapped a drive shaft. He had to run all the way up the hill into the parking lot to retrieve a new drive shaft, and he slips coming back down.
Pop good. Pop. Very. And I broke it several times before.
The ankle injury forced David to both clutch and brake with his left foot. An obvious major disability in the Mini Rubicon, but it didn't matter. They popped another drive shaft and ended up winching themselves home. The next competitor was Josh Parizeau, who brought his Cherokee out and encountered an identical problem to what he ran into in the frame twister. It was the front drive shaft that eventually let go about 20 or 30 feet into the Mini Rubicon. Not to be dismayed, they carried on as best they could with rear-wheel drive only, but they eventually had to be hauled out. Well, Kevin Kalin wants to make this worth his while. I mean, this guy hauled 50 hours from South Carolina.
Yes, he's a good thinker. He has a well-prepped machine, and he does a careful job, but an aggressive job at the same time.
And the guy tossing around the rocks here is his co-driver, Robin Stover. There's an interesting story how they got together.
He didn't have a co-driver, and a gentleman from out here was chatting with him. At the end of that chat, this gentleman became his co-driver. So the fellow who's out there helping him and running and just doing everything he can to help him is someone he just met.
But despite the fact that they just met, they work very well together. This is one of the more methodical runs that we've seen, but don't let that deceive you. These guys are making very, very good time out here. As I understand it, you guys a few days ago had not even met. Tell me the story about how you got together with Mr. Kalin.
Well, he was pulling his Jeep out of his trailer and he needed some help, and I came up and offered a hand.
I don't know much about rocks, hadn't really been on them much, and he's familiar with them, and he really helped me out. You give credit where credit's due. All I did was turn that wheel the way he told me to. He deserves all the credit.
Where we're from, there's a lot of mud and stuff, so we like to do things different. So going to the rock crawl challenges, which is completely different, prepares you for the staggering of the rocks and make sure your differentials don't hit.
like it from the very beginning that you had the travel and the extension on the wheels to get the job done?
Yeah, that's what this rig was built for, was the rocks, and we really wanted that one bad.
You did it with the spotter. You chose to use a spotter, and you seem to rely on him pretty heavily. I saw you change directions specifically because of what he said. Is that what got you there?
Absolutely. That's the way all the rock crawling competitions are based on, and that's our plan. So it's worked for us in the past. We decided to stick to it, take the 2 points, and have a clean run.
Well, Jake Hollenbeck is from Reno, Nevada, so you can be sure that these rocks are absolutely nothing new to him. Nevertheless, he got hung up on one very early, high-centered on a rock, and decided if you can't move the rock, you might as well move your Samurai. Well, after a few moments, it actually worked, and this, believe it or not, turned into one of the Samurai's better runs. Jake made a very nice, clean run, and he did it in good time. Roger Bernard and the Roger build also came on very strong through the Mini Rubicon. This guy got a little aggressive. Now, again, he was plagued with busted drive shafts throughout the competition, but he was very, very aggressive in the Mini Rubicon, and it, too, paid off for him. Steve Rumer's Sniper came in first place, the CJ7 in second, and the Scrambler in third position. Now, this is as hard as it gets, really. I mean, the other stuff was challenging. This can almost be impossible for some of the guys. This is the tank trap, the infamous tank trap, and it goes for about a quarter mile that away. It goes through a ravine all the way down at the very bottom of Hollister Hills and works its way on a slow incline. Now, the tank trap consists of 6 water holes that get progressively deeper and progressively more difficult, and these water holes are separated by a large canyon that's referred to as no man's land. Very difficult to get through, even though there's no water in that particular section. Also, some very dangerous rock ledges you have to dodge around, and a tricky exit to hole number 4. Now, the first guy that's going to try is the guy in the cockpit right now. That's Roger Bernard. He came all the way from Canada, and he's done a tremendous amount of work trying to get his Roger-built vehicle ready to go as soon as possible. He's had a number of real problems. One of them came in the event prior to this, and he had to fix it before he could even run, and now he's drawn the number 1 slot for the final event. Now, this actually caps an entire string of bad luck for Roger Bernard, who came out to the very first acceleration event and dropped a drive shaft. Well, he went to work very, very quickly, got some help, put it back together in time to compete in the braking competition as well. Now, if you look back over his entire roller coaster ride through Top Truck Challenge, you'll find that the Mini Rubicon may have been his strongest event, although he also finished a very strong third in the tow test. The Roger-built finished a distant 7th in the frame twister competition. He was the last competitor not to run out of time. The Roger-built has been reassembled as best could be done with the few drive shafts he had remaining. Added a snorkel, and now he's going to try to get as many points as he can. Roger has just had nightmares with his drivetrain. Now, he came through here. The beginning of the tank trap is about 100 yards around that corner. Made it through here with no problem, but he hit the first big incline, and there he sits. He did get about halfway up the incline, and it looks as if he broke the rear U-joints. Now, that's something that is very fixable. It's very curable, and he can take care of it, but he's going to park there for a few minutes. And remember, the reason they're rushing around so hard is because they were on a 30-minute timeline, and they've already spent about 5 or 6 minutes of it trying to get this far.
I think he did the same thing that he did in the hill climb. He's pulled the front driveline apart, and then because of it, the same thing as the obstacle course, actually. It's taken the rear U-joint out, and so he's both front and rear out.
The Roger-built's final drivetrain problem proved to be terminal, and he had to be extracted. They gave you guys a few minutes just to relax, walk down, look at the first hole. What does it look like to you?
It's not as bad as I thought, at least this first part. We've watched the videos, we've heard the stories. This first section anyway doesn't seem to be as bad as years past.
I hear it gets worse at the end.
I'm sure it will.
Good luck.
Thank you.
On your mark, get set, go!
So we send the Sniper on his way down into the tank trap, and this is our chance to look back at his performance in Top Truck Challenge so far. He's never finished lower than 6th in any event, and that came in the tow test. In the acceleration and braking competition, he came out with an engine that he really didn't feel was completely up to power. You could see a big puff of smoke there at the beginning. He still finished third in acceleration and third in the brake testing. The Sniper dropped to fifth in the frame twister, not because he didn't have a nice run, but because he left the perimeter of the course, and he also took out one of the cones and suffered a penalty. In the mud pit, he tied for second. He was actually the winner in the Mini Rubicon with one of the best runs so far. When it came to the hill climb, the Sniper was the first of all the competitors to actually make it to the top. Overall in this event, he finished second. The Sniper's four-wheel steering performed very well on the obstacle course until the steering wheel came off in Steve Rumor's hands. Well, Steve reached forward, tried to grab the steering shaft to no avail. Fortunately, the truck drove itself to a second-place finish. And now we follow him back into the tank trap, where he closes in on the first water hole. Well, Steve and his co-driver have to winch their way out of the second water hole. You can see Steve working the winch control with his left hand and driving with his right. And this is a crew that is very, very experienced with winching because of their rock crawling experience in the past. They've entered many rock crawling competitions, and as a result, they know how to winch well, and winch quickly. And that's exactly what they've done here. Now let's follow them as they go into the canyon, a portion of the course that in past years has been very, very difficult for other competitors to get through.
Hey, you gotta unlock it. Hey, you're gonna have to lock it.
An interesting strategy on the part of the Sniper crew. First of all, they have turned up the idle on the fuel injection system of the Sniper so that Steve could crawl out on the hood without killing the engine.
Hey, you're gonna have to lock it.
And the co-driver did not rewind all of the cable after their last winch in hole number 2. Instead, he wound a lot of it around his arm and simply threw it in the cockpit so they wouldn't have to repeat the entire process. They actually cleared water hole number 3 a little quicker than expected. They now head toward the 4th of 6 water holes. Well, Steve is making very, very good time so far. Let's listen in as they approach the last water hole.
You gotta go right there. Yeah, well, we can drive up over there. Maybe back up and get over there. Can we go through that tree? Yes, let's go. No, you can make the turn.
This was another pre-planned strategy. Steve and his co-driver decided they were going to stop at the berm, which went down into each water hole, and assess the situation. They weren't going to get in too big a hurry. They wanted to very carefully plan their route through each one of these water holes, and this time a very wide line over to the left has really paid off, and these guys are headed toward the finish line.
That's it? That's it? That's it. Yeah!
Well, we finally had somebody make it through. Congratulations, you're the first one. 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Could you have pushed harder?
No, we hammered it the whole way. It did great. I'm real happy. I can't ask for anything more.
Talking about that last big water hole.
We had the plan. We were going to pull up to the top of each bank and take a look, so we didn't get into a bad situation. And Drew said left, so we backed up, moved over to the left, and buried it, and it came up the other side, surprisingly enough.
Did it come over the sides? How deep were you?
Yeah, I was chest deep most of the time. I couldn't see anything except the top of the steering wheel. She ran the whole time, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
8 more guys to follow you. How many of them can make it through?
There's a lot of good vehicles in this group. Everybody's got a shot. It's just, I think the big thing is keeping it running, keeping it charging, and teamwork.
Well, you guys, are you ready to pull off another miracle here?
Absolutely.
Can you pull off another, say, rock crawling miracle for us?
Well, we hope so.
What did you guys see? I mean, you had a chance to go down there. You had a chance to check this out a little bit. What did you see, and what looks really scary to you?
The depth of the water pit at the last hole, that's the only thing we're worried about.
Kevin is ready to make his way down into the tank trap, but let's take a look at what he's done so far. First of all, he accomplished a first-place win in the acceleration competition. Now, this is undoubtedly due to a huge, big block V8 hiding underneath the hood of his Scrambler. It's a 454 Chevrolet board 30 over. He has all kinds of horsepower, and you can stop it, too. He won the acceleration, placed second in braking, and second in the tow test. In the frame twister, Kevin had a very nice run going all the way up to the very last log. Well, he got stranded there. They did have to winch their way out, but still came in third place. He also finished third in the Mini Rubicon and went on to one of the best runs we saw all day long in the hill climb. Kevin finished first place in the hill climb in addition to his win in the acceleration competition, and now we track him through the first hole of the tank trap. And look at Kevin just throw this Scrambler down into the second hole. He has got a lot of water into the engine compartment right now, probably more than we saw with the Sniper, who had to winch out of this hole. Now let's listen to the engine. That is a very sick-sounding motor, and Kevin just about turns the Scrambler on its side as he now heads into no man's land. Kevin Kalin makes his way out of no man's land. He digs his way through the canyon, does a good job here, but his real troubles begin in waterhole number 3. Well, Kevin's engine dies in the water hole, and you'll find out if you take a close look at the front of this Scrambler, he's one of the few competitors that chose not to run a snorkel, possibly a very expensive decision.
Here, I'm gonna engage it, you power it out. Power out, I engaged it.
Kevin and Robin soon realized they had much bigger problems than simply being stuck in a water hole. The engine would not refire. They dug out the toolbox and went to work as quickly as they could to tear down the engine and try to find what the problem was. They soon realized that they had filled up their 454 engine with water.
Hey, Jim.
So at this point right now, do you want to call your time? And
No, I want to go ahead and pull as far as I can
Okay.
because I want as much distance as I can get.
Kevin winched as far as he could possibly go. He was finally forced to give up when his time limit ran out. They later examined the Scrambler's 454 and found not only water, but actually mud down inside the cylinders. And Kevin's event was finished.
On your mark, get set, go!
Brent Gigaberg's Flatty hauled all the way from Sumner, Washington, and it's a very uniquely designed vehicle. See, in Washington State, you don't have to worry about sand or rocks, but you do have to make sure that your vehicle is short enough and narrow enough to fit between all those trees in Washington State. Brent's Flatty is powered by a 302 Ford with a B&M supercharger, good enough for 4th place in the acceleration competition. Unfortunately, it didn't stop very well. He finished 9th in braking and 4th in the frame twister.
Definitely harder than it looks.
The Flatty really made some good headway through the mud pit. One of his best events, Brent finished 2nd. The Flatty has had its share of mechanical problems so far, and now he dives headlong into the first water hole of the tank trap. Brent's Flatty made it through the first 2 water holes, but then he realized the real challenge lay ahead in the canyon.
I'd say they're pretty calm and they should be able to work this up fairly easily if they stay on the right line.
Well, staying on the right line proved to be very difficult for Brent.
That was a hard section.
All throughout the canyon, they were forced to strap in and hang on as the Flatty went sideways again and again. Their Ford 302 was carbureted and it soon began starving for fuel.
You're 12 minutes, almost 13 minutes into it. You got lots of time.
And to complicate matters even further, the radiator began leaking water, and now engine temperature became a factor.
They're out of 2 and in the canyon, approximately 50 yards.
In gear? In gear. Fuel pump off. Okay, start motor. No fuel pump, okay? Well, you're gonna have to put a new motor in it. Feels wonderful, but I don't really like him for making me get out.
And if their overheating problems weren't enough, they soon realized that their starter gave out.
Hit it with a hammer, Joe.
Go, baby, go!
Back and forth, man, back and forth. Oh, you got 15 seconds. Hit it!
Well, considering the mechanical problems they were plagued with throughout their run, Brent Gigaberg and his Flatty put forth an admirable performance and actually did pretty well. Once time had been called, he was extracted from the tank trap and his day was done. Josh Perizzo's Jeep Cherokee will take off toward the first water hole in the tank trap. A number of mechanical problems for Josh throughout the entire competition. In the frame twister, Josh got off to a very fast start but got hung up in the logs and broke a front drive shaft. He had to be extracted from the course. A 10th place finish was the best he could manage in the Mini Rubicon after again snapping a front drive shaft. In the obstacle course, he got off to a very slow start but ended up finishing 6th. 6th was Josh's best finish through the entire competition, but he got bonus points for style. Well, Josh pulled through the first 2 water holes of the tank trap easily enough, but ran into real problems once he got into no man's land. The steep angles on the side of the canyons not only threatened to scratch up the side of the Jeep Cherokee, but it also gave his carbureted engine plenty of troubles.
It's floating. It's floating. Your back's floating. That's awesome.
Josh made a strong pull through the third water hole, and his $7 snorkel even seemed to be doing the trick, when all of a sudden an old problem came back to haunt him. Between the stopwatch and the drive shaft, Josh Perizzo's run was finished.
Well, you did a good job of driving it up through here. You didn't muscle it, you just drove it up through here. And you did
While Josh's Cherokee was being extracted from the tank trap, Aaron Clow's crew was working feverishly on the bummer back all the way at the obstacle course where they had had such severe mechanical problems earlier in the day. But aside from those mechanical problems, there had been several bright spots for Aaron and the Bummer. One of them came in the tow test with a strong 4th place showing. The Bummer's long wheelbase was good for a 2nd place finish on the frame twister. Aaron also managed a 4th place finish in both the Mud Pit and the Mini Rubicon. And aside from a disastrous DNF in the obstacle course, Aaron's worst finish was 6th place in the braking competition.
Basically what he did is front end on the axle assembly, pushed back on the driveline, back into the tranny, back into the transfer case, and the adapter from tranny to transfer case didn't take the brunt.
The Bummer's driveline problems turned out to be so severe, not only was it knocked out of the obstacle course, but the problems were indeed terminal. They could not fix it in time. They had to withdraw from the tank trap. David, I know the obstacle course was really tough on you. How's the ankle holding up? I mean, you got to go one more distance here.
Just tape it up tight. I ain't worried about it. I won't even think about it. I ain't scared.
Well, you're not gonna have to do any of the running. Hopefully, you'll have your spotter do most of that for you. So you think you'll make it through?
Go!
Well, David Uhlberg tries to put something positive on what's been a very tough weekend for him so far. With multiple mechanical problems and a busted ankle to show for his efforts, David took Goliath to the tow test, hoping for a good finish. He didn't get it. He finished in 8th place after busting a drive shaft. In the frame twister, he dropped yet again down to a 9th place finish. And in the Mud Pit, the best he could manage was 7th. His luck improved considerably in the obstacle course, where despite a couple of small penalties, he still finished in 4th position. And now we send him toward the tank trap, where he still hopes to salvage his week's work. Now coming out of the second water hole, they face the challenge of no man's land, otherwise known as the canyon. Running over his winch cable late in the competition was one of the few mistakes that David Yulberg made in an almost perfect run.
That's the top.
So despite the mechanical difficulties suffered earlier in the competition and a very, very sore ankle, David did manage to put a positive spin on his Top Truck Challenge experience. In fact, he's only the second competitor to make it through the tank trap. Well, Sam, this is your last big hurrah here. Now, I'm anxious to see what you're going to do. How's things going?
Doing great, doing great. We got it all waterproofed, and I think we can do a good job here. I guess the best time right now is 10.5 seconds, so we've got to try to beat that.
You mean 10.5 minutes? Now, that would be quick. Now,
oh, yeah, really?
You've got everything waterproofed. I noticed that this filter up here for waterproofing is actually higher than your head. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wouldn't you drown first before the Jeep quit?
Yes, I would. I'm hoping that it doesn't get that deep.
It's close to it. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Okay, Sam, you ready?
Yes.
On your mark. Get set. Go.
Sam Patton will start the tank trap like he starts everything else, with his foot to the floor, going very, very quickly. If any one driver has so far dominated this event, it would have to be Sam Patton and his CJ7. Even though they don't have the most horsepower, they still came in second place in the acceleration competition with a 350 Chevy and tune-port fuel injection. In the frame twister and the mud pit, he scored outright wins in both of those events. Despite knocking over a cone and getting a penalty in the Mini Rubicon, Sam's finish was still good enough for second place. And he went on to finish a very strong third in the obstacle course. In fact, Sam's lowest finish for the entire competition so far has been fifth. And when you're at the top of the heap, all the pressure is on you. Sam Patton will head into the tank trap, never having finished out of the top half of the field. So Sam has actually made excellent time so far. In fact, he's covered more than 2/3 of the entire tank trap course in less than 3.5 minutes. However, getting out of some of these water holes is not as easy as it looks. and they burned nearly 15 minutes trying to make it out of that last water hole. So Sam, frustrated with that front left broken hub and his inability to keep up the torrid pace that he set early in the tank trap, decides to switch places with his co-driver. He takes over the co-driving duties himself. Pulling out of the last water hole just when they thought they were home free and would finish the tank trap, the fuel pump gives out.
Back it off! Yeah. Try it again.
Well, since they can't get fuel from the fuel tank, Sam decides to improvise.
Starting fluid.
Got some B12.
Okay. Try to start her. 2-minute warning. Let it drive. Let's go. Hang it to the right.
Start it. Start it.
Yeah. Hang it to the right. Hang it to the right. To the right. Hang it to the right.
With a broken hub, no fuel pump, and their driver sitting in the engine compartment, the CJ7 finishes with 30 seconds to spare.
Fuel pump went out.
Well, congratulations. We have, I think, our third competitor. I'd shake his hand or hug him or something, but I don't want to. You are covered with mud. Sam, give me the story of what happened, okay?
Well, we were doing real good till we got right to the end here. We were about 4.5, 5 seconds, and we slid off in the ravine and broke an axle. And so right after that, we started winching, and we finally got out of the hole, and then we got the winch back out and come across the pond and started going through, and the motor just died. And so we're thinking, oh great, now we've either got water in the distributor or water in the motor. So Mike was driving, because I got up there and started looking at the motor, and I undid the intake, and he handed me a can of Chem Tool, and I just started spraying it in there, and it started up, and we just made it. We made it by 2 seconds.
You know, I was up there listening to the judges, and they said 4, 3, 2, and I heard somebody say, he made it, he's gonna make it.
I know, it was a miracle we made it, thanks to Mike, and he helped me out a lot, and we made it. So at least we finished. You know, we didn't do a DNF, so that's what was important.
Go take a bath.
I will, thank you.
Well, you got one more crack at this, and you know you've come on strong in the last few events. What are your thoughts going into the tank trap?
Hope to come on strong and take the good lines and hope that the waterproofing works.
Yeah, tell me about your waterproofing. Take a look at his dash here. Take a look at that.
We did a lot of tape trying to keep it up and off of the electronics below, try to keep it out of the computer and everything, and if the water rushes over the hood, hopefully that'll keep it out.
You asked for a few extra seconds to get the engine warmed up. What's your concern?
I just want to give it up, get a little warmed up, try and get the revs up so I don't hurt anything.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
On your mark, get set, go!
Jake Hallenbeck of Reno, Nevada is off to a very quick start in this, his final event in Top Truck Challenge. The Samurai has had an up and down experience here in Top Truck Challenge. He started off the competition in fine shape, coming in first place in the braking competition. His lightweight Suzuki with a 4-cylinder caught up with him in the tow test, though he finished dead last, although he did finish the course. The Samurai finished 5th in the Mini Rubicon. And with some outstanding driving skill, sawing that wheel back and forth, Jake finished 4th and made it to the top in the hill climb. And the small, nimble samurai really showed its abilities in the obstacle course, winning the event outright. And this guy is very, very aggressive as he takes on the first water hole in the tank trap. Jake's Suzuki Samurai runs a sidekick engine and has Toyota axles. Well, he bounced his front right tire off a canyon wall and broke a Burfield joint. Now he has a three-wheel drive.
Like did an instant burst of power or something.
The Samurai crew was about halfway into a very good run when they made their fatal mistake. The winch cable had not been properly secured to the front bumper. It came off, went down underneath the vehicle, and became hopelessly ensnared in the front suspension.
He's swimming. Okay, you got 10 minutes?
It's jammed bad. I feel like coming under the brake line.
5 minutes left.
Jake and his co-driver spent that last 10 minutes trying desperately to unhook the winch cable with no luck at all.
Yeah, I give him the 2 minutes.
Time eventually ran out on the Suzuki, and Jake had a DNF.
Where's your winch control?
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'll go down final. Let's just dig it out.
Cliff, very quickly before you take off, will you just relive the trials of the last 6 or 8 hours for me?
Well, we blew a stub and a hub and the steering box on the obstacle course, and thank goodness there's great parts houses in town. They had a steering box out of town. The parts runner ran and got it, booked it up to us at camp. We put it on. They gave us a great deal on it. I mean, they helped us out. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. It was amazing.
Everybody's helped out.
Everybody's helped out.
So Cliff Steelman's F100 is actually one of the more amazing stories in Top Truck Challenge this year. Here's a guy who's lucky to be starting this event at all. And the week actually started off very well for it. Of course, the F100 has all kinds of muscle and all kinds of size, but not much agility. The F100 peaked early in the competition, winning the tow test and winning easily. In the frame twister, things started to slow down just a little bit. He got hung up on the last few logs, had to take a 6th place finish. And the obstacle course brought on the worst luck of all. Cliff took a poor line up on the entry of the obstacle course and gave everybody a little scare. The damage to his F100 was severe. It included the steering box and the front stub axle, and nobody was sure he would make it this far at all.
Okay, lock the front end. No water? Well, there's a little bit. Hold it.
Cliff made good time getting through the first 2 water holes, but as soon as he got into the canyon, he separated a front drive shaft.
Calm down. Okay, we're going to have to, don't run over me. Take it out 4-wheel though, so I can line the spline up.
Oh, okay. Okay, coming out.
Don't, hey, you're rolling still.
Roll back too much.
My nut's getting farther away.
Must have just unloaded the front end too much or something.
They repaired the front drive shaft with no problem, but they didn't even get out of the canyon before they encountered the very same problem again.
Start sucking in, Cliff.
Am I closer to the top? I made it the whole 6.
Top Truck Challenge was over for Cliff, and it was for the rest of us too. Only 3 of our 10 competitors made it through the tank trap, the final event. The drivers and their crews and families spent the rest of the evening washing their trucks, loading up, and sitting around the campfire enjoying the beauty of Hollister Hills. The next morning, they woke up for breakfast and handed out the hardware, naming Sam Patton's CJ7 as the top truck.
Oh boy, being the winner of the Top Truck Challenge feels great. We're real excited and surprised.
Steve Rimmer's Sniper came in a very close second place. Kevin Kalin's Scrambler wound up third. Jake Hallenbeck's Samurai and Aaron Klau's Bummer rounded out the top 5. Thank you for watching this edition of the Ultimate Four-Wheeling Video Series. We look forward to bringing you more four-wheeling excitement in future editions. Until then, I'm Stephen Cox. Have fun and be safe.